Hey guys, this is Andre from the Dre Jay podcast. We're here with another episode, and we have my partner here, Mr. Jay. How you doing today?
I'm doing all right. Ready to have a little heated conversation. Well, probably not heated, but little.
Who knows? Who knows where it'll
We'll
go?
We'll see what happens.
All right. So this episode, we're just basically gonna get into, the updates of the Deshaun Watson situation. The last time we made a video about whether or not he was gonna get traded, it was just all, skepticism. We didn't know what was clear. He has 5 years left on his contract. So the odds of him being traded was just slim to none. But now we're just gonna, dive in today and talk about what are the actual odds of him getting traded and who is he gonna go to. So I'm gonna start off. I have a question for you, Jay. Now that we've seen all the tweets and all the activities coming from Deshaun Watson and other players around the league, and basically the exposing of how how he's been mistreated in the Houston organization.
Right.
Is there any chance that he's going to take another snap for that team? Is he going to play under center for Houston next year?
I have to, as much as I want to say there's no chance possible, I think I'm going to go 50-50 because I've been doing a lot of research about this the last couple of days because there's a possibility that he could get traded. Obviously, everyone knows Miami's been like the big name team that he's been speculated to go to. So I've definitely been paying very close attention to that. But I would say a 50% chance because correct me if I'm wrong, but from what we've heard so far, we haven't really heard Deshaun Watson himself come out and say, "Hey, all these rumors going around is not true. I want to be in Houston. This is my team." We haven't heard him come out and say that, right?
But then he just liked the post about the Jets making an aggressive offer for him, which is
Exactly. It's kind of shady. He's been liking all these posts. I saw a post where he was in a 49ers uniform. Somebody photoshopped him in a 49ers uniform and he liked the post. I saw him in a Jets uniform and he liked the post. So it's like little subtle shots. I guess he's taking at the organization. But back to what I was saying, I think it's still a 50-50 chance that somehow, some way they can sit this guy down and say, "Look, man, we feel like you're a huge part of our future. Without you, this team, doesn't really have the brightest future in the world. Tell us what it is that you need for us to get to the next level, and we will make sure that we consider you in those plans." Now, obviously, it looks like they probably told him that months prior, and then they ended up hiring the GM without having him within the conversation, without his, I'm not gonna really say consent because he's not the general manager. He's not the president of the team, but at least without consulting him first. Let's say consult, So I think it's 50-50 because, like I said, we haven't seen him come out and say these rumors are not true. I want to be in Houston. But then again, we haven't heard him specifically from his mouth say, "I want to be traded. I want out." I think the reason why he hasn't done that is because he doesn't want to make it seem like he's the bad guy. If he comes out on Twitter tomorrow and says, "I want out of Houston. This is a horrible franchise," it's gonna make him look like the bad guy. But he's
go crazy on him.
Exactly. Everyone's gonna turn on him. But I guess you could say everybody's kind of picking his side a little bit because most people would think, okay, this guy's your franchise quarterback, arguably a top 5 quarterback. I'm sure you'd probably agree. He should at least be in the conversation about what the future of the team is going to be. So I'm going to stick with 50-50 for right now. Back, I don't remember what I said in the last video, so I don't want to say I said something.
You remember what I said? You said 2030. So I'm surprised from your perspective that
Mm-hmm.
since then, and we did that video like 2 weeks ago, I
2
believe.
weeks ago, yeah.
After all of the shade, this man is basically has become the Lori Harvey of the NFL, and you've only took it up a notch 20%. So
Yeah,
I'm pretty shocked by your answer.
Yeah, the only reason why I say I jumped it to 50%, I was thinking in my head that I said like 10% or something. I'm glad you
said like 20-30. You said 20-30, but you said you're leaning towards 20.
Yeah, exactly. I'm glad you had that on record, just so we could get a good idea. The only reason why I would say put it at 50 is because, like I said, we haven't definitively heard from himself. All we've been hearing is Deshaun Watson's camp this, Deshaun Watson's camp said that. We haven't really heard from him, his mouth. The only thing we heard from his mouth is I'm sure you heard a couple days ago they were gonna do a march around Houston to keep him on the team, and then he came out and said, as much as I appreciate it, I don't want the fans to be put at risk from COVID and stuff like that, from being in big crowds. That's the only thing we've heard this guy say. We haven't heard this guy say, I want to be in Houston or I want out of Houston. So until I can get that definitive click, because I feel like he's just liking the post just to throw shade at the Texans. I don't really think that's saying that much.
Or put fire under them. Put fire under them.
Exactly. Just put fire under them. I don't really think it. I mean, it could mean a lot, but I'm not really taking too much into that. Like I said, I just think he could just be trolling the organization when he likes those posts and stuff like that with him photoshopped into another team. What would you say?
Yeah, but my perspective on that, I get what you're saying, but just like a relationship, bro. Like, say you and your partner have an issue. And you take it to social media, bro. I feel like that's the end of the relationship, bro. Like, it's already severed. He's already liking other girls' pictures, flirting with the Jets organization, with the San Francisco organization, Miami. You don't think that relationship is severed? Like,
it's interesting that you say that.
How do you come back from that?
It's interesting that you say that. Because I was just going to mention, I was waiting for the right time to mention it, but I was just going to mention there's a lot of players around the league, especially the Dolphins I've been paying attention to, because obviously I'm a Dolphins fan, that have seen posts saying Deshaun Watson possible to Miami, and they've been liking the posts. I'm sure Lynn Bowden on the Dolphins. They said
if this was Adam Silver and the NBA, those players would get fined for tampering.
He liked the post. one of the Dolphins linebacker liked the post saying Deshaun Watson going to Miami, and then of course they put their accounts on private so that nobody could expose them. Then you saw Allen Robinson liking a post of him going to the Bears and all this stuff. So I mean, I guess you could say it holds a little bit of weight. Because obviously those players are expressing their mind. Like, for example, let's say in a magical world, they said Deshaun Watson to the Packers. If Devontae Adams liked that tweet, we probably would have made it a big deal out of it. So
hell yeah.
I guess it holds some type of weight. I guess it holds some type of weight. But like I said, we've seen plenty of times. Like, for example, look at I know this is a different sport, but look at James Harden. He pretty much came out and said, it's not working here. I want to leave. He literally came out in a press conference and said, look, I feel like I've given my all to the city of Houston, but I just don't see it getting any better from this point. He pretty much said he wants out. But he
hasn't given his all, but I get your point.
No, exactly. No. I'm just quoting what he said. I'm not saying that he did that, but I'm just quoting what he said. He at least gave us a definitive that said, okay, because leading up to those days, it was like, oh, James Harden might actually be leaving. And then when he said that, they traded him next day. So, I mean, until we hear a definitive, I want to be here or I don't want to be here, like I said,
the NFL
I'm on the
doesn't
fence.
work like that. The NFL doesn't work like that. Like, I'm going to actually agree with you. I'm going to backtrack and go back to what you were saying when you said 50-50. I feel like Deshaun Watson, the NFL is the type of league, he could say that. He could say that tomorrow, I don't want to be here, trade me, from his own mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And they still trap him for about a year or two just because they can. I feel like the NFL is structured different that way. They just go on with a backup. If he doesn't want to play, he doesn't want to show up to training camp, he doesn't show up. Sort of like what the Steelers did with Le'Veon Bell.
Exactly.
They held that man hostage for like a year before they let him go.
So let me ask you this, because I remember we were talking about this with Kais. I think Kais was in the Deshaun Watson video, the last one. How do you think that Deshaun Watson really holds any leverage in this situation? I mean, obviously we know, I'm sure you know, he has a no trade clause, which means that whatever team they try to trade him to, he has to say yes before they can make the trade final. So do you think he really holds any leverage? I mean, he's under contract until 2025. So the Texans could literally come out and say, look, you put the ink to the paper a year ago. You're not going anywhere. They could literally come out and say that, and I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean he has to play, but he's under contract with the Texans until he's not going to be a free agent until 2026.
He's at their
mercy.
So
do you think he has any leverage really? Like, well, I don't think he has any leverage as much as people keep,
because he wanted to have a word in who is going to be the next head coach or GM, and they said, nah, bro, just shut up and play. Like, we handle that. You go out and do what you do.
I feel like that's pretty much what they said.
And that's small, bro. Like, every quarterback around the league, I'm pretty sure Aaron Rodgers had a say in who they were going to hire as head coach before Matt LaFleur came in, and vice versa, with other superstars around the league. You can talk to your guy and say, would you be okay with this coordinator or this coach? And it's like, Houston wasn't having it, So I don't think he holds weight that we think that he should, but
yeah, I really don't think he holds as much.
If anything, they're gonna hold him. They're gonna hold that man hostage,
bro,
until they feel like they could get a deal worth giving him up for.
And that's what it is. I will stand by this until they either say he's gonna be traded or he's not. Everybody's so quick to say, "Oh, we'll give up this. We'll give up." I heard people that are Dolphins fans saying, "We'll give up Tua.
Please
give them 2 first-round picks.
Give them back their picks. Give them their picks.
Give them back their picks and all this and all this stuff." And I will stand by this the whole way. This is a franchise quarterback. He's a top 5 quarterback, in my opinion. I'm sure you would probably agree. And he's 25 years old. He turned 25 in September.
He's young.
This guy has at least 10, 13, 14 more years in the NFL. So if they're going to give up Deshaun Watson, they're going to want a king's ransom. Everybody's like, just trade 2 first-round picks. Just trade 2 first-round picks and a player or something. No, bro, these guys are going to want a king's ransom. They're going to want like a player. They're probably going to want whoever your quarterback is. Just as a bridge quarterback, if you want to say that, and then they'll probably want 3 or 4 first-round picks. It's gonna be something crazy. I'm telling you right now, or else they probably anybody that calls that team is gonna be they're probably gonna say, look, if we're starting this conversation at 3 first-round picks. If you can't hold that conversation, just hang up the phone right now. I feel like that's how it's going to start. If you can't at least put 3 first-round picks on the table, then this conversation's over.
Honestly, as a Dolphins fan, sadly, as a Dolphins fan, I don't even think that we could compete with other teams because Tua is nothing to offer.
I mean, okay, so I'm not gonna get into a big debate with you because I know that you're trying to bait me, and I'm not gonna let. I'm not gonna let you do that. But what I will say is, I would say the Dolphins and the Jets, if you're talking draft picks, probably have the most ammunition to entice the Texans right now because both teams have 2 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks in this upcoming draft. So I'm sure the Texans would definitely be enticed by that. Now the question is, if a quarterback is involved in the trade, who do you take? Would you say Sam Darnold and 2 first-round picks, or Tua and 2 first-round picks? I mean, if that's what the basis of the trade is, like what
Sam Darnold seems more appealing.
You think Sam Darnold seems more appealing? Mm-hmm. Okay. I mean, I'm just wondering in your mind.
Tua can't throw more than 10 yards down the field. I'm going with Sam Darnold.
Oh, yeah. So
I'm messing with you.
So I mean, like I said, man, unless a team is willing, and on top of that, no team is giving up 3 first-round picks unless you're saying Deshaun Watson is all we need to get to a Super Bowl. And there's not many teams that can say that right now. I guess if 49ers, if everybody's healthy, maybe you could put Deshaun Watson on that team.
So you don't think the Dolphins? You don't think we put Deshaun? Sorry to interrupt you. You don't think we put Deshaun Watson on this Dolphins team, and we're not going to the Super Bowl?
No,
we're 11-5. If Tua just throws more than 100 yards in a game,
I mean,
just in the red zone.
Okay, so let me put it in this perspective. Put Deshaun Watson on the Dolphins right now. Are they beating the Chiefs in the AFC? You really think so?
Yeah, with our defense showed that we could bother Pat Mahomes.
I mean, yeah, but I mean that was out over a first quarter. After the third quarter,
first quarter is all Deshaun Watson needs. That's all he needs.
I mean, now don't get me wrong.
Didn't he blow a lead? Was that
yeah?
It was the year after he made that miraculous pocket play, and then the next game they were up like 21.
The divisional round. I think the divisional round, were they up 35-0 or something crazy?
It wasn't 35. It wasn't that. It wasn't that crazy.
It was something crazy. Maybe it was 24. Maybe I'm tripping.
24. I mean, 24-0, and then Pat Mahomes came back and dealt with Pat Mahomes.
I mean, to come to think of it though. When it sucks,
but he didn't have our defense. He didn't have.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Come to think about it, it sucks that our defense was playing that good and we couldn't put up any points on the board while our defense was playing that good, because then the defense started getting tired and then the Chiefs started putting up points, so we didn't have anything to really combat it, So I can see where you say that. Honestly, I just feel like we still need some more weapons on offense to really be in serious contention.
So you really don't believe in Jakeem Grant, bro? I feel like we could turn him into Tyreek.
No, man.
Damn.
We need a little bit more than Deshaun Watson. I would definitely put us at least divisional round of the playoffs, but beating the Chiefs, I'm not gonna push that button just yet. But I mean, like I said,
AFC is not that good that people think it is, bro. Because it's the Bills. The Bills are the second best team.
I mean, I have to disagree with you on that, because remember, in the AFC this year, they had we had 8 10-win teams, and the Dolphins were one of them, and we missed the playoffs.
Yeah, but the Steelers were a fraud.
Yeah, I guess. But I mean, I'm not gonna say it's not as good, but I mean, like I said, pretty much what I was trying to say is you're not, based on what I can think in my head, what the Texans are gonna want. I don't think anybody's giving that up unless Deshaun Watson is all you need. Like, you drop Deshaun Watson on your team and you're a Super Bowl contender. And there's not a lot of teams that can really say that, to be honest.
All right, and I was just gonna ask you. I was gonna ask you, but I'm gonna have you think a little bit with this next question. What is a realistic destination for Deshaun Watson right now?
What's the most realistic?
Most realistic destination for Deshaun Watson right now. They called the Texans up on the phone, and the deal is done.
I would have to say between the Jets and probably Chicago. I think the Bears, they have an excellent defense.
Mm-hmm.
They just need a quarterback. They need a quarterback desperately. Mitchell Trubisky is not going to get it done. And no way he's on that team next year. The Jets, it all depends on what they think about Sam Darnold. At the end of the season, I remember the general manager said, look, we have a long time until the draft. We think Sam Darnold is a good quarterback, but we have a lot of decisions that we have to make. So obviously they're on the fence about him. If they have a chance to get Deshaun Watson, they're gonna pull the trigger. So I think it's either gonna be between one of those two teams. As I would like him in Miami, I just don't think it's gonna happen, because I don't think the Dolphins are gonna want to pay him $30 and $40 million the next 3-4 years. I don't think Miami is built that way anymore. If you back this, if you go back in time, I'm sure as Miami, we used to sign these crazy free agent deals. If you go back 3 years in time, this is if we go back 3 years in time, this is a done deal. They would have already pulled the trigger.
But this is who we should have been pulling the trigger for. Actual good quarterbacks, not washed up skill players.
But the thing is, the decent quarterbacks like Deshaun Watson, those guys don't just float around. Oh, he's in the running for being traded and stuff like that. Like those guys are never even have a chance to lead the team that they're on. So I don't know, man.
You're right.
I don't know.
I ain't gonna lie, the Dolphins might get lucky, bro. Like, say in a fake world or an imaginary world, Andrew Luck decides to come out of retirement. He just come to South Beach.
That man ain't coming out of retirement, man.
We need somebody, bro. We just need somebody, bro. Two ain't it.
Bro, stop trying to get me on that, man.
I'm trying to bait you, but that's all, guys. We want to thank you guys for tuning into the Dre and Jay podcast. Again, I'm Dre, he's Jay. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and please follow our page. It's on Instagram, Dre and Jay podcast. Thank you. Take care.
All right, see you.